Hello, future Grandmasters. This is day 52 of the journey to a chess champion. I appreciate all the feedback on the last video, where you guys liked the new format of just me talking, about chess and about the state of things. We've got 4 days until Grenke. I'm very, very excited to get back to the board. It's been basically a month since I played in Jerba, and this entire year, it's almost in April, and I've only played two tournaments. I usually, play at least two tournaments a month. So I'm definitely craving the opportunity to compete. Um, I think that one thing I wanted to touch on, and something that might be misunderstood, is the ecosystem of chess, and exactly what my role is in that, and how I've been affected by all these unfair accusations. So before 2022, the September, I was receiving many opportunities, and I was playing every single tournament. At one point, I was even the brand ambassador of the Play Magnus Group. Some of you might not know this, but beginning in 2021, in December, until about June 2022, I was the brand ambassador of the Play Magnus Group. And this granted me, first of all, sponsorship. I made a chessable course that did quite well. Then I also was competing in many of the Champions Chess Tour tournaments and receiving many wildcard invitations. And in my current predicament, while I do not like to make excuses, or will I will never sort of see myself as a victim, I don't receive invitations to invitational events, and in the chess world, you should break down tournaments into three different stages of how chess players make money. So there are open events where most players will get their hotel covered, if they're lucky, their flight, and at these tournaments, you're fighting for the prize fund. There's prize money. You don't get an appearance fee. You don't have any guarantees. You could go there and make no money. Then there are tournaments that are called leagues, that you have each individual country has its own league. There's the Bundesliga, the most famous one. There's an Austrian. Every country has its own sort of chess league. And those you get paid per game. And those also you can play against quite strong opposition. So those are good forms of income. Now the leagues are quite, complicated. It's hard to sort of get in. You know, sometimes you get lucky. For example, this year I'm playing the French league for the first time, which it was quite difficult for me to get into a team. And if you can play the leagues, there's also decent opportunities to play. Then, of course, you have invitational events. Now, there are different levels of invitational events. You have the Grand Chess Tour. You have all the tournaments in St. Louis. But let's say there's tier one invitational events where you must be like a top 20 player, or sometimes they make exceptions and they invite local players, as a wild card. For example, when I was given a wild card to the Singfield Cup, it was because I was, the top American talent, and they wanted to invite an American player. Just like in many countries, there's always a local player with a lower rating who's given opportunity. And for those events, you know, you need to, let's say, sometimes they invite players who are, younger or talented or have a unique character, unique style. That can all contribute to getting invitations. Then there are tier two events, like, there's round robins that are maybe for the top 50 players in the world, or, the Teep Sigmons, or the London Chess Classic that I played, or the tournament in Croatia that I played. Now, for the past 2 years, despite winning the tournament in Sweden, the Teep Sigmund event, with the performance 2850, I have not been invited in the past 2 years. Of course, it's damage. Of course, you know, there are many other events, like all the events in St. Louis, which I was not invited to in 2023. Now, and I hate to complain and I hate to victimize myself, but I want you guys to truly understand the ecosystem of chess, so you can understand how this journey will progress and how it will continue, and what the crucial steps are for me to actually enter, you know, the top of the chess world. And if you look at the finances of it all, right? In 2023 and 2024, I have not received a single invitation to a St. Louis Invitational event. I was invited to the U.S. Championship, which I qualified for by rating. I was also invited to the U.S. Junior Championship, which I had already won, and I would have been the top seed by far. So I declined the invitation. Now, of course, as I mentioned, these tier two open events are the tournaments in St. Louis, these sort of spring chess classics. They have seasonal, there's four classics. These are really great tournaments. Those, I played two of them in 2021, which are great opportunities. No, 2022, I played two, sorry. I played one in March and then one in fall. And there you get to play against super strong players. You have a guaranteed prize fund and you have great conditions. So in chess, how you make money and the opportunities you get, it depends, right? So if you look at back in 2023, I had a rating of 2711. I was the number 32 player in the world. However, despite being the number 32 player in the world, I received no invitations in America. I received no invitations to tournaments I'd won previously. And I go and I play these open tournaments, and within a month and a half, my rating goes from 2710 to 2646. Now, of course, I played terribly. Of course, I was under, unimaginable amount of stress. But it doesn't actually help that I'm going to all these open events where, it's impossible. I'm not making any money. I'm playing against all these underrated kids. Of course, it was a mistake to play these events, but what was I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just not play chess? Am I supposed to just sit at home and become a streamer and wait for the opportunity to arise? I wanted, to take control of my destiny. So just an important context to understand. So of course, it's crucial for me in the future. Now, I am playing this match against Vidit, which, due to the gracious sponsorship of Amari Cooper, but of course, this event I think will be commercially successful. It's not just Amari Cooper, throwing money and just throwing it away. There's going to be a great open event, which I think is going to be very successful. Of course, it's going to be watched, by hundreds of thousands of people. Every time I play a chess game or a match, every single major chess YouTube channel and 10 languages are covering it, right? That has to be worth something. There must be some way for me to, find sponsorship or to play tournaments and use this attention that I can create and this sort of prestige and this, because we live in an attention economy. So um, I do hope that in the future that I receive sponsors and I receive the ability, I have the ability to organize events that on my own terms, or I'm not, at under, I don't have to rely on all these invitations, right? So I'm in the process of trying to organize my own matches with unique sort of formats, a mix of classical art, work, and if the money is there and I organize a match and the money is there, or people organize it on my behalf, why wouldn't the top player, play against me? If when you're playing a match for an hour and a half in a sports stadium and the winner gets 30 grand and the loser gets 20 grand, I think a lot of top players might be interested, you know? It's only the sort of chess establishment that is working against me, and some players, of course. But I think if the money, money talks, as they say. Money speaks for itself. So that's very important. And if there are sponsors that are interested, and I'm working on trying to do that, then I think that you know the financial support is crucial because all these top players, they have all these billionaires supporting them. In India, you have Eric Geisy getting 300 grand a year, for 5 years, $1.5 million sponsorship agreement. Then you have Pragnanda sponsored by this billionaire. You have all these Keimers being now funded. He was funded his entire career by Grenke. Then he was now being funded by this new billionaire Jan Butner, who's funding this Chess 960, right? So all these things, I'm at a serious disadvantage to not have these opportunities. And however, I can't overcome, and it's not an excuse, right? Because the chess speaks for itself, and if I make the best moves and I play the best chess, eventually I'll overcome that. So to end this video, I wanted to talk about a story of another book. I know that I speak about Fischer a lot, but I wanted to tell you guys a story. This is a book, Bobby Fischer Against the World by John Donaldson. And just a quick story about John. When I moved back from America to San Francisco, no, I moved back to Orinda, and I went to the chess club at the Mechanics, and we went there for a Saturday morning junior class, and Donaldson was there, and the teacher was Elliot Winslow, and I started going to the Mechanics a lot, and later he writes this book, and somehow I'm in Serbia, and I'm completely isolated from the world. I'm not speaking to anyone. I'm like going to sleep at like 6 a.m. And suddenly I start reading this book. And suddenly I finish this book, which is just for your information, 637 pages. And I read this book without a break. I think I might have fallen asleep after 500 pages, after being awake for 20, just not sleeping. And then I immediately finished. But this is an amazing book. And I think that to me, Fischer's so inspiring because I think that I'm up against this establishment. I'm being, back then in Fischer's days, there was a lot of prearrangement, and the Soviets had this sort of real grasp on chess power. The Soviet sports committee was very involved in chess and controlling things. And I think that in this current moment, if you guys want to understand how do I become world champion, of course I have to work hard. I have to improve my chess. But the reality is money. If there's money sponsoring me, because if there's money, then I can play anywhere in the world, right? If you say to Hikaru, here's whatever amount of money to play a chess match against me, money talks. He might change his mind, right? So, of course, I need to improve. I need to work hard, but the financial aspect of growing any sport is also important. So that's why you guys watching these videos, supporting me is so crucial. So I hope you guys enjoyed my story about from Serbia and this book. Obviously, I'll talk about some books that aren't about Fisher. If you guys like this format, please comment, and subscribe to show the algorithm that this type of content you guys like. And I'll keep doing these types of videos. Simpler, just talking. If the feedback is good. So thank you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.